Hey, it's Dave. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about an experience I had at a store in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about mom and pop's, big box stores, and all that stuff. So it was around the first week of June. I believe it was probably like right around the 1st or the 2nd. I don't know. It was right around then. I was calling line 6 to find out who I could bring my line 6 Flextone 3. They gave me two places, a place in Pawtucket and a place in like Newton, Waltham area. And since I drive down to the Pawtucket area, not really in that area, but like 20 minutes north of there, on Wednesdays for a student, I figured I would go. So I called the place. They told me, yes, they do that. And we had a good conversation. I went and dropped off the amp. When I dropped off the amp, I talked to the guy who I talked to on the phone. We talked about repairs. He even said he does them sometimes himself, and he might be the one actually taking a look at the amp. So I was like, cool, whatever. Just let me know. So I figured I'd be using this amp in a few weeks, and figured they would have it fixed and whatnot. What ended up happening was I dropped it off on June 5th. Around July, I don't know, about a week and a half ago, I called them. And they tell me, well, they're not fixing it, and they don't repair non-tube amps. Well, I was like, well, why did you take my amp in the first place? And why did it take you a month for me to call you to find out that you don't fix these amps? Yeah, sorry. So they have two locations in Pawtucket, and I wanted it. Well, I think one's in Pawtucket, one's in like North Smithfield. It's called the Music Complex. So I said, well, I'll pick it up in the Pawtucket one since that's where I dropped it off, and it's the closest to me. The other one is just, it's not convenient. So they were like, great, it'll be here on Monday, and you can come pick it up on Tuesday. I went on, I think, a Wednesday, the next day. Not there. They gave me some song and dance that something happened, whatnot. I walked out irritated. I said, have the owner call me. I mean, I figured somebody owed me an explanation as to why my amp was there for over a month. Nobody knew. Something was very disingenuous. And nobody really seemed to want to talk to me about it. Everyone was kind of trying to give me the brush off. So now I leave a message a couple of days later when nobody calls me. I call again, and I ended up talking to a guy, Tom. I guess I called the other store, and Tom answered and basically was like, yeah, I don't fix those. I'm like, well, yeah, I get it. And just really wasn't helpful. Kind of like, I don't know. It was like talking to a fool. That's all I can say. I mean, I've ran stores. I've been in situations that are not the best. Mistakes happen. Things happen. And it's just like anything in life. When a mistake happens or if something needs to be fixed, how you handle it is how you handle it. And that really tells people who you are, especially as a store. So then I was playing that gig up in New Hampshire the other day, and I got a phone call on my break, and it's the owner. And basically he's telling me he's personally going to bring it to Pawtucket on Monday so I can pick it up. That was all he basically said. So I was like, well, what happened? Like, how did this whole mess happen? He's like, yeah, I don't know. Tom doesn't do that. We sometimes fix non-tube amps, but we don't. So I show up on Wednesday, which was yesterday. The amp's not there. The guy at the store calls the owner. He's like, yeah, it's not there. I'm like, all right, just drop it off at my house. You guys come to me. I go out of my way now twice, 40 minutes out of my way. And, nothing. So then he's like, I'm getting ready to leave, and I give him my address, and then the other guy, the owner, calls back, and he's like, I'll give him $20 if he can come pick it up. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take the free lunch and be done with these guys. So I figured it would also be a cool opportunity for me to go down there and have the owner come up to me and, at least have the ability at that moment to explain and apologize and just show some type of concern or care. Yeah, no. I get there, some young kid is at the desk, and he's like, yeah, we don't fix tube amps. I'm like, yeah, that would have been nice to tell me over 30 days ago. I don't need to hear it from you today. He was like, oh. I'm like, my amp, and then he's like, here's your 20. I'll carry it to the car. And I'm like, great, carry it. So he carried it to the car, and he was like, yeah, sorry again. And I left. And I think to myself, now, number one, it's called the Music Complex. I guess they're in North Smithfield. I think that's the town they're in, but they're also in Pawtucket. I'll never go there. I would never go there again. I don't even know if I would piss on the place if they were on fire. It's just, the store, in my opinion, blew it. And I even said to the kid before I went to the other store, I said, I used to manage shops. If one of my guys took in something to get repaired and we couldn't do the repair, I would have my guy find out who does the repair, figure out how we can get it to that guy, get it back so the customer can come back into the store, pay for the repair, and not have to deal with the hustle. That's what we did. We were a customer service place. And when you're in that business, that's what you should be. You should be in the customer service business. Especially when you got big box stores coming into town, and all these people always say, oh, the big box stores, support mom and pops. Listen, I'm all for supporting the store that knows how to handle customer service and gets me what I want. If you're a mom and pop and you suck, fuck you. I don't care that you're a mom and pop. I don't need to go to your store and pay $8 for a set of strings. But if you go out of your way, above and beyond like we used to at West LA, get me what I need, and I can just come back to you and you tell me, listen, we had a problem. The tech doesn't fix it. We found a guy that did, took it to him. Here it is, bada boom, all set, you're all set, here's your total. I would be like, what? You guys are awesome. Incredible. Like, I would tell everybody to come here. I'm telling everybody, do not go to the Music Complex because I think the store sucks. I think they're the worst at customer service. I don't think they even understand what the word means. They're the kind of store that they sell things and they expect you come in, you hand them money, they leave. What do they need you for? You need to buy a fender that way? Go online and buy it. Sweetwater will take better care of you and you never even have to see them. Sweetwater will call you after to make sure you're happy with something. That's why Sweetwater is crushing it. That's why Guitar Center sucks, because they don't have people that know. That they have the turnover's too great. They can't get anybody in there that knows anything. They don't pay well enough, and therefore they're just a box store that just turns and burns. So if you just need something real quick, a set of strings, something, you pop in. If you want to be taken care of and you need to know X, Y, and Z before you buy it, you want to know everything about it, you want to make sure the guy's going to call you and take care of you as a customer after you buy it to make sure you're happy with it, go to Sweetwater. Now, when we were at West LA, we had Guitar Center move in, and I even told the owner, Don, I said, Don, you can't compete with Guitar Center. Stop carrying these things that Guitar Center carries. We should be focusing on high-end stuff. Well, True Tone up the street in Santa Monica, which is a gorgeous store, they were basically doing what I said we needed to do. And they were having a ton of success, but nobody wanted to hear it. Don was someone that said that the internet was a fad. And just certain things, like I said, we should have carried the custom shop Gibsons, not dealt with all the main stuff. We should have carried the custom shop Strats and Tellys from Fender and all the amps. But, everyone was like, oh, we should carry the Squier. And anyways, they're not around anymore. True Tone is, and True Tone is up the street still from Guitar Center, and True Tone is crushing Guitar Center. They're a mom and pop shop. They don't care what Guitar Center does. They know how to do what they do. There are stores here in Massachusetts. There's a Guitar Center in Braintree that is terrible. Up the street, there is a store called South Shore Music. That is an excellent small store. They carry higher end things, they carry some low end stuff, but overall they are an excellent store. There's Matt's Music in Weymouth right up the street, also an excellent store. They carry the stuff that the people in the area want that doesn't compete with Guitar Center. They run a great store. You can run a great store and not have to worry about what Guitar Center is doing for business. Everybody can perform and have a piece of the pie. But this notion of that you must support mom and pop shops, there's a lot of mom and pop shops that should close. And there's a lot of mom and pop shops that do really well. There's a shop that's down in Kingston, and it's called Music Unlimited. So my friend and I went to Music Unlimited. I was talking to the guys, my buddy was talking, and he saw an Epiphone master build just like the one I have. He says to me, how long has that been here? I said, well, that's been there since about 2008, and it's 2014 or 15 now, whichever year this was, a couple of years ago. And I said, you should make an offer on the guitar. Well, they had a price of like $475 or $500. My buddy wanted it for $450. And they were like, well, it's already at the lowest number it can go. And he left. I then said to the guy there, my buddy really wanted that guitar. And he's like, well, he offered me $450. And I go, well, did you get his name and number? No, we don't do like car salesman type things like that. Car salesman things like that. Well, a week or two later, my buddy went to Music Emporium up in Lexington and saw a Collings OM2H, and he bought it. And then a week later, he bought a D2H. Each one cost about $3,700. So they didn't want to negotiate with him or talk to him about it. And I told them, like, if you sold it to him for $450, first of all, I would have asked him what gear he owned, how often he buys. I would have sold the thing for $400. It's 8 years old. You're paying more money a year on the tax of inventory on that guitar. You're losing money every year with that guitar. Give it to him for $400. He'll come back and buy half your store before you know it and pay a lot. But they don't care. They're like, oh, that's car. They just want to collect money. They just want to sit there and be the money collector. You do all the work. And it's funny because the owner or the guy, well, I think he was the owner, he was talking to me about a friend of his that he used to work with that I worked with at West LA. And the guy at West LA was a monster. He now owns Westlake Audio. And he is a monster. He calls back people. He's on it. People want to be handled. They want somebody to call them and say, hey, listen, you were looking for a Les Paul? A guy just came in with a used one. You got to come in and check it out. You'd be like, man, that's my guy. He's fucking awesome. I'm going to check that out. If you're not interested at the time, you just say, hey, you know what? I've had a few things come up and I won't be able to afford it this month. So whatever. You want that guy calling you. That's the kind of business you want. You're in the guitar shop business. When I hear someone say, oh, I don't want to, that's a car dealership type. Well, everybody needs a car and guitar players want guitars. Why wouldn't you call somebody to let them know, hey, listen, you were looking at that Epiphone. I've got a Blue Ridge that came in with a 1 3/4, blah, 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 and it's $500 brand new. You want to check it out. And I know his store had downsized recently. Listen, people are downsizing not because of the economy, because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it just drives me bananas. So I just wanted to get this off my chest about the situation I dealt with the music complex. I think they were a bunch of shitbags. I would never go back. And they had the opportunity when I went to the other store. I even gave them that opportunity to be able to come up to me and talk to me about it. And the owner didn't want to. Had some young kid who's barely 20 to deal with me. And, lost a customer. Whatever. And I will tell everybody that I know I would never go shop there. That's how business works. If you're not going to handle it and you don't want to take care of it, F off. Anyways, now I want to talk a little bit about NAMM. I'm kidding. If I hear one more asshole talk about NAMM, I swear to God, I'm going to unplug this computer for a month. It's unbelievable. It's just like people are talking about it like it's the end-all be-all. There's nothing new. Nothing's changed. It's going to happen again in January at the Winter NAMM, and then it happens again next summer, and nothing's ever new. Once in a while, something comes out in the guitar world where people are like, oh, that was cool. That came out a couple of NAMMs ago, but who cares? Who cares? I am going to be teaching songs and playing songs because I like music. Anyways, I thank everybody for watching my channel. I thank you all for your support. And as always, very good.